Ever notice how the left is totally fine with freedom of religion so long as you don't actually practice your faith? Here they go again. A Christian organization in Oregon had been receiving funding by the state for years until they practiced what they preached. Bud Amundsen is the executive director of 715 Ministries, and he's here to tell us all about what Oregon did to them, along with his attorney, David Cortman, senior counsel at Alliance Defending Freedom. So, Bud, let me start with you. What kind of service did you provide Oregon, and what caused them to suddenly deny you grant money?
Sure. Our society is facing an epidemic of young people who are struggling with abandonment, hopelessness, and hence depression. And 715 helps with that. And we do that through a variety of programs, safe places. Our core element is trusting relationships, and we bring a message of hope in Jesus Christ. And we were doing that for 6 years, and really one of the model programs of the state. And then they changed their rules. And since we require, as a Christian organization, that our volunteers and staff are Christians and believe in Jesus Christ, they kicked us out of the program.
How dare you be Christians? David, you had oral arguments earlier this week in federal district court in Medford. So what's this case boil down to?
Yeah, I mean, it really boils down to the First Amendment and the free exercise rights that we have. The Supreme Court has said for years, including a case I got the pleasure of arguing a few years back, that it's actually odious to the Constitution to prohibit a religious organization from participating in a government program simply because it's religious. And that's exactly what's going on here. And I think the irony of this case is the folks who are suffering are the at-risk youth that the government's trying to help, and yet they're kicking this great organization who's been doing fantastic work for over 7 years now with the state, which actually hurts the organizations, and it helps the kids who need this type of mentoring, job education, all the training that they do.
Yeah, they really don't care about who it's helping because this is affecting their politics. So, Bud, when state officials let you know that 715 Ministries would be disqualified because the requirement by you guys for employees and volunteers to sign a statement of faith, so in their worldview, you'd potentially have to hire an atheist, a Satan worshiper, or a Christian hater, right, in order to receive funding?
Well, I expect that would be the result, because we would not be allowed to ask what their perspective is on Jesus Christ, on this message of the gospel.
Yeah, and so, but it's so patently absurd because you are an outward Christian organization, and so for the state to tell you you really can't be, I mean, what was your first reaction when they said that to you, by the way?
Well, I was shocked. It was a punch in the gut, feeling like we as individuals doing good work doesn't matter any longer. We disagree with your faith perspective, so you're done, you're out, you're gone. Along with the stress of how do we replace that funding in our budget, which we're dealing with right now. $187,000 of reserves have had to be spent to keep our programs open and access for young people.
You know, Oregon, as Alliance Defending Freedom noted on its website, gives money to organizations that exclude, such as Girls Only. So, David, what's the case law on cases like this?
Yeah, I mean, the cases are clear in this situation. You can't punish a religious organization for being religious, which is exactly what they're doing here. And the irony of it is that it's their religious beliefs that motivate them to reach out to these at-risk youth. And what's interesting is there's other programs, as you mentioned, that actually do discriminate, and they don't serve boys, they only serve girls, or they serve different types of populations. And that's certainly fine, but when you pick on a Christian organization for hiring Christians, which not only doesn't make any sense, but of course any organization that's gathered around like-minded individuals, whether they're secular or religious, that certainly is the way that they forward what their beliefs are and what their ideas are. So in this case, it not only doesn't make sense constitutionally, but it doesn't make sense at all, even logically, or for the kids in the program, most importantly.
Exactly. And I'm wondering, by extension, so the Catholic Church in the state of Oregon that might receive state money for Catholic charities, let's say, to administer a program, they too would be affected by this, I'm assuming, right? But we'll see.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It would apply to any organization that's religious or faith-based.
Yep. Bud Amundsen, I wish you luck, and David Cortman, Alliance Defending Freedom, does great work, so keep it up and good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you.